Welcome to Beyond the Pod, presented by SodaStick.com.
Brunette, he moves, Brunette back in, he scores! Minnesota has upset the Colorado Avalanche! Andrew Brunette, the game-winning goal!
Here are your hosts, the second greatest scorer in Gopher hockey history, Pat Micheletti, and the second greatest hockey analyst on this podcast, Brandon Mileski.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Pod, brought to you by SodaStick.com. I'm Brandon Mileski, Pat Micheletti with me. Hi, Pat. It's October's on the horizon. Hockey's beginning. College hockey begins this weekend.
Yes. It all starts on Saturday. So pretty excited about it. And I know you are. And it's that time of year, Brandon.
Yeah, and someone who's going to be making his debut in Minnesota for the Golden Gophers, brand new forward, Grant Cruikshank, who came over through the transfer portal from Colorado College. Grant, thank you so much. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Minnesota. And I kind of want to start back at the transfer portal because Pat and I have had every coach in the state of Minnesota on, and I've asked the transfer portal question to every single coach what that experience is like, but I have not heard from a player yet. So Tell me, what is the player experience like from being in a transfer portal and I'm assuming like just being recruited all over again?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I guess I was a little bit used to it, considering at one point I was committed to Wisconsin when I was a little bit younger, and then made the switch over to Colorado College, and then had to go through the process all over again for a third time. So, no, it was super exciting. It was a pretty stressful and crazy kind of 2 or 3 weeks right off the get-go, and it was great to meet some great coaches. Had a lot of great conversations, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was very stressful, like I said, but super glad with how it turned out. I don't think I could have went wrong any way I chose, but I'm super happy to be here at Minnesota. I felt like it was the right fit in my gut, and we got an awesome team this year. So just like you guys said, I'm pumped to get started this weekend, and yeah, we got a really good squad this year.
I mean, how difficult was the final decision? I mean, did it come down to 2 schools, 3 schools? The pressure from these coaches to get you in their program, and you know, I mean, who gets to be a free agent in college, right? And just talk about that experience a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was really hard. I have a great kind of support team in my family, and with some guys that I'm really close with that, you know, I'd bounce my thoughts off of and ask questions, and all the coaches were really great. And there were a handful of teams that, you know, I really, really respected, have a lot of respect for right now, love the way they play, love the way they're coached. And so, yeah, it was a super hard decision, but like I said, kind of at the end of the day, it came down to a gut feeling, and where I felt most at home, and this was the spot. So I've had an awesome summer when I was here, and an awesome kind of first month or two with the guys. It's been amazing. The guys have been great. The coaches have been outstanding, and we have a really, really good team that we're excited to show this weekend.
What is that experience like, kind of trying to fit in? You know, I can imagine it'd be like going to, you know, being in 3rd grade and all of a sudden your parents move and you got to go to a new school and make new friends and everything's different. What has that fitting in process been like with you and teammates that, you know, we're all, for the most part, other than your incoming freshmen, we're all together last year? Yeah,
it's been everything I could ask for. I mean, the guys have made it so easy, and it probably is a little weird on the outside looking in, you know, thinking a Wisconsin kid, a senior, not a freshman. But luckily I knew a couple guys kind of beforehand. And then on top of that, everyone that I got to meet kind of right away has just been super nice to me, super friendly, and helping me kind of get my feet under me in a new situation, and a huge school coming from, you know, a school of like 2,400 students to one of the biggest schools in the country. It's a huge change. And these guys have been great, kind of helping me along. And, you know, we have a really tight group in here, which has been an awesome surprise. And it's just, it's a really special place. And I've come to find that out here in the first couple months.
Let's go back to your years at Colorado College. You played under Mike Havlin. I have a lot of respect for Mike. And things happen, and he's no longer there. That being said, you guys were, you were always on the cusp of reaching that next level, but you didn't. Just talk a little bit about your experience there, and what do you think was lacking, and quite frankly, what made you leave?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I have a huge amount of respect for Javi. He was kind of like a father to me. He was so great to me. All the coaches were. They treated me so well. I still have a great relationship with all three of them, and definitely sad with how things kind of turned out. But like I said, I don't regret anything. I enjoyed my time there. I have a lot of respect for them. I met some great lifelong friends, had some great hockey experiences too. So at the end of the day, when he split with Colorado College, that was kind of the decision. And kind of wanted to look in a different direction for myself. And like I said, it was kind of a crazy couple weeks, but super, super excited with how things turned out, and couldn't be happier.
Okay. I've seen you play for the last 3 years, and I kind of know your game a little bit. But for the people out there who are going to see you for the first time on Saturday, what are they going to see out of you?
I think speed is probably one of the biggest things. I try to use my speed in a lot of different ways. I think one of the biggest things with kind of my skating is trying to shut things down defensively, whether that's on the forecheck, on the back check, taking good angles and trying to get the other team to turn it over, and then go the other way. And I think that I can use my speed kind of against their defenders as well, whether that's down low, kind of in the corners, beating a D and really trying to be kind of elusive. Those are some of the biggest things. I also think that I can bring some scoring too. It's certainly been a lot of fun in practice with guys that are so skilled and can get you the puck in places when you're open, or even when you don't think you're open, you end up with the puck on your stick. So I certainly think I can bring some of that, and then some more kind of just intangibles, just leadership, being an older guy. Some guys probably won't be able to see that, on the ice. Some guys might be able to, but that's certainly something that I'm hoping to bring to this program, is just kind of an older leader with some character. And at the end of the day, I think one of the bigger things I bring is my compete.
Now, who are you playing? Who are you playing with right now?
The lines have been changing every day, so we've been changing lines literally every practice since we started. So it honestly doesn't really matter. I think we have the deepest forward group in the country. Then you look at our defense. Our defense is just, they're a bunch of studs back there. They're unbelievable. And then, in my opinion, we got the best goalie in the reigning Mike Richter. So, like I said, we have an unbelievable team, and I can't wait to get out there and compete.
Well, speaking of your teammates, throughout practice, which teammate has either impressed you the most or has been like the most difficult to play against?
Wow. I could go a lot of ways with this one, but I think Faber defensively is just outstanding.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, I got to watch the team on TV the past couple of years, just when games are on. So I got to see them play a little bit, but to play against him in person has been, it's been great. I mean, you start to learn what he does well. Just watching him too, I think is a big thing. So there's so many guys that I could say that I'm trying to pick up things and learn from. It's pretty much every guy on the team. So I think that's kind of ultimately how you can build a championship team, is everyone kind of pushing each other and learning from one another. And ultimately, that's one of the biggest reasons why I came here.
I apologize if you've been asked this question a billion times in your life and throughout your career, but you're
who's his favorite golfer?
No, I'm not going to ask that.
Come on.
You mentioned your ability, your speed, and obviously you have parents that were both speed skaters at a very high level. Your mom, one of the greatest Olympians of all time, and Bonnie Blair, won 5 gold medals. At what point in your life did you realize, man, my parents are a big deal, and how much influence did they have on your skating?
Yeah, I mean, a lot. My dad is I guess more of kind of my hockey and skating coach. He's with LA right now as their skating coach. And so I've kind of learned pretty much everything I know kind of in the hockey world from him, starting at a young age. And then touching on what you said about both my parents and figuring out kind of who they were. It was honestly from a pretty young age, and just from people recognizing her. And but to me, they're just mom and dad. And
Right.
Regardless of kind of what they did, I just have so much respect for them, and I'm so grateful for them and everything that they've taught me, mainly just away from the rink. And they're both such good people and are so well respected for such a good reason. And I can't say enough about them. I'm so close with them, and I owe everything to them. They've been awesome.
What do you know about Alaska?
Well, I went to Anchorage my freshman year, so it was pretty cool when we got to go there. That was actually my first 2 college games. So playing against another Alaska team here. I don't know much about Fairbanks, but I'm sure they're a little bit older. I'm sure they play kind of a grind, chip and run style, and we got to be ready for that. And we have some guys that are a little bit younger, and luckily this year we have a bunch of older guys too. So I think it's important to kind of show them and tell them what it's going to look like, how it's going to feel, what to expect, and all those little things. I think if we play our game, we play fast, we play hard, and stick to our details, man, it's going to be a fun weekend.
Final question for you, Grant. What are kind of expectations within the team? I would have to imagine after last year's performance, and basically everyone coming back, and for the most part coming back, and a lot of young defensemen, and goaltending is great, and you're coming in to help offensively. I have to imagine expectations are high. Sometimes teams can fail under that kind of pressure. So what's kind of the mindset of the group right now?
Yeah, definitely we know that we have something special this year.
Yeah.
As I kind of said before, it's crazy to see in the first couple of months that I've been here how much people support this program, and just really how special it is. There's so many people behind the scenes, so many people that care about us, and we've talked a little bit about it the past couple of weeks, and our job is just to serve. We want to serve the guys that have been here before us. We want to serve each other as teammates. We want to be there for one another. And I think, like I said, it's been a really special first couple months, getting to see how much we care for one another, how much people care about us, how much we look up to the guys that have been here before us. And, every day being able to walk through that locker room and see the names is really something special. And, of course, ultimately we want to win the big goal at the end of the year. And we know we have a special group. So I think it's really just focusing one day at a time.
Yep.
Every day in practice, you get to the games. That's our focus is on Alaska. And that's kind of all we can really do right now. And like I said, I think it's learning to play for one another, playing for the guys that have come before us, playing for the fans, your parents, everyone who's helped you kind of get to this point. I think that's kind of where our head's at. And like I said, we're super excited.
All right, Grant, some advice now that you're at the University of Minnesota. There's a lot of alumni that you should listen to if they ever try to talk to you. If a Micheletti ever comes down in the locker room, just fake smile, nod, yes, have it go through one ear out the other. Don't listen to anything.
I will see you on Sunday. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Grant. Appreciate it.
Grant. Take care.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right. Minnesota Golden Gopher forward Grant Cruikshank. Before we continue on, Pat, I want to talk about SodaStick.com. It's your original Minnesota sports-inspired goods. If you haven't seen this stuff yet, you have to check it out. All of their apparel, screen printed here in Minnesota on super soft, super comfy shirts. You will love it, and we're going to hook you up with 15% off your next order. So use the code KFAN for 15% off. That is SodaStick.com, SodaStick.com. Original Minnesota sports-inspired goods. Use the code KFAN for 15% off your next order. He seems like a good kid, Pat.
Let me tell you something, Brandon. A true story. In the years that I've been covering the Gophers, that is the first time that I've heard a player say, we're playing for the guys before us. Now, when I went to the University of Minnesota, when I came in, you're scared, you're excited, you're kind of in awe a little bit. And my whole motivation for playing was not to let the guys who played here before me down. And that would mean, not just, points and goals and this and that. It was just how you act, how you wear the letter in front of you, and to just uphold what they, you know, set forth. And I tell you what, that kid is impressive.
Well, it's even more amazing coming from someone who's not from Minnesota.
Right?
Yeah, is brand new to the program. I mean, it was a pretty mature response.
Wow. Yeah. So good for him. Looking forward to seeing him. He's a good player. He's a really good player. And, I know a lot of teams around the country wanted him. And I'm sure he got a lot of pressure from Wisconsin, North Dakota, who lost a lot of guys.
Sure.
So it was a good get for Bob.
It makes sense, though. I mean, it's like a perfect fit for him, right? I mean,
yep.
The Gophers returning all their defensemen who were all good last year. You're returning your goalie, who was good last year. Returning some key forwards, but you did lose a couple.
Yep.
So it just seems, just like a perfect fit in terms of coming into a team that has potential to win the whole thing. I mean, that's the ceiling. Yet there's a fit for a player like that who could contribute right away.
No question about it. And again, I'll say till I'm blue in the face, this year in college hockey might be the best season that we've seen in the last 10, 15 years, with the transfer portal and guys getting another year and seniors coming back because of that. I just think it's going to be really, really competitive.
All right, I'm going to test your great college hockey mind, Pat, since college hockey begins this weekend. I want you to preview a bunch of series, so maybe just like a minute on each of these series. I don't want to go too long in any of them, but we'll begin with the Gophers. I'm guessing out of all the schools, Alaska is probably low on the list of teams you know a ton about. But what can the Gophers expect from Alaska this weekend? They have a game 2:30 Saturday, 4:00 Sunday at Mariucci. You can get tickets at gophersports.com.
Well, I think Grant summed it up. They're gonna try to dumb it down. They know they can't on a skill level compete with the Gophers, or probably with the speed that Minnesota has, skate with them. They're gonna try to make it a boring series, and you have to. And you know what? There's ways they can win, right? I mean, you put in a good system, you play it, and you frustrate a team. They can do that. I think Minnesota is going to be pretty jacked to get open this weekend. And on the big ice sheet, I think it could be tough for Fairbanks this weekend. I think Minnesota will probably get the sweep in good fashion.
Gophers, by the way, named number 1 in the preseason Big Ten coaches poll, also ranked number 4 right now nationally in the preseason national poll. St. Thomas, the University of St. Thomas, making their Division I debut. Not an easy opponent to play for your first ever Division I game in St. Cloud State. Saturday they'll be at St. Cloud State. Sunday they're going to be at Xcel Energy Center. I'm guessing it's hard to know a ton about St. Thomas right now, but what can they expect out of St. Cloud State?
Well, St. Cloud State is they got 20 guys back. That will tell you something right there. Plus a couple transfers that came in, plus Jack Pert, who is the number 1 pick of the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah.
Mr. Hockey.
Second round pick. Yeah.
Second round, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So and he's gonna contribute right away. They get their goaltender back. St. Cloud is going to be one of the top teams in the country, no question about it. But for St. Thomas, man, talk about excitement and the thrill of playing their first Division I game. They will compete. Rico Blasi will have them compete, and I don't think you look, you don't tell them this, but I don't think you look at their overall win-loss record this year. I think they will surprise teams. I think they'll compete hard, and I'll be doing the game on Saturday, and I'm really looking forward to it, just to see. They'll have guys on their team that played for St. Thomas a year ago when they were Division III. And there's a lot of misconception about how good Division III is. There's some awfully good players in Division III. So for that, I'm really looking forward to it. They've got a good goaltender that they obtained in the transfer portal, Peter Tomey from North Dakota. And when you have a good goaltender, you've got a chance. So you know what, I'm really looking forward to it. And again, that is a gold mine that is going to be. Don't judge them how they end up this year. We don't know how they will, but in the future, it's awfully bright for them.
Two national powers, Minnesota State, Mankato, traveling all the way out to Massachusetts.
Yeah,
a pretty good non-conference opponent on the road to begin the season for Mankato and Mr. Hastings.
well, UMass is number one in the country to start the season. They have another McCarr, that
Great.
Gail McCarr's brother. Yeah. Although I saw a clip of Greg Carvel, their head coach, and he's pretty coy and doesn't like to give a lot of information, but they do have like 8 new guys on that will be entering their roster. So I'm sure they're very good players. But it takes time. It takes time to get implemented into college hockey when you're coming from another league. Minnesota State is Minnesota State. They play the same way. They've got a lot of experience. They're an older team. They will be one of the top teams in the country. In fact, Brandon, I am making my prediction right now that Minnesota will get 5 teams again in the NCAA. Mark it down. Every team is really good. We talked to Tom Saratori, and you know what? He's got some experience coming back. Goaltending might be the issue there, but I tell you what, every team is going to be very, very, very good again.
Yeah, goaltending might be an issue because they lost their goaltender to
Right.
North Dakota after 3 good seasons up there, Bemidji, and that's who Bemidji State will play. They'll play a 1-game series against North Dakota this weekend at North Dakota.
Yeah, and North Dakota, I think they're picked 3rd in the NCHC. I think they're 4th or 5th nationally, and I think a lot of that is on reputation. Don't sell them short by any means, and they may have the best defenseman in college hockey. How can I say that when Minnesota has probably 5 that are right there? But they've got 8 or 9 guys coming in in the transfer portal. That's a big turnover.
Yeah.
And they lost Kawaguchi and Weatherly and some other high-end guys. So scoring might be an issue for them, but it's North Dakota, so they'll compete.
Minnesota Duluth, are you snubbed in your Minnesota college hockey poll, your provincial Pat poll, whatever that's called, on Fox 9? I'm sure they're all mad at you.
For the club.
The Bulldogs 1-game series at Wisconsin this weekend.
Yeah, and here's the deal. Listen, try doing the poll, right? I mean, with
Yeah.
the number of good teams we have in the state. That being said, I looked at what's coming back for each team, and new guys coming in, and I looked at Duluth, and they're going to be very good again, and they probably will move up. That being said, they lost 111 goals up front, and they have good guys that potentially can replace that. However, they haven't yet. So the test will be, can they score? They're good. They're good on the back end. They've got both goaltenders back. They play a simple system, but I got to see if they can score. Hence, that's why I put them there.
All right. Any final national title predictions before the season begins?
No, I really don't. Listen, I'll put it this way. I think one will come out of Minnesota.
I love it.
I think 5. I really do. I think St. Cloud's got a great chance. I think Minnesota's got a really, really good chance. Minnesota State with Dryden McCain net and the number of guys that they have coming back. Listen, it's really, really going to be competitive.
And now that St. Thomas is Division I, Pat, I've learned, just judging by the way other college hockey fans are, that whenever you snub them, I have to get really pissy at you for it. So
yeah,
I'm upset that you're not considering St. Thomas in this mix.
Well, I'm not, and I hope to be next year, because I don't think, like some programs, it takes a longer time to get there. I
Yep.
don't think it's going to take a long time for St. Thomas to get to where they want to be. They've got a great campus. You know that, you went there. Centrally located, close to everything. They're going to have all the amenities. I
All the
don't
new
know.
building
They're
in
going
a
to get
couple
a
of
new
years.
build. Yep. And I said it from the get go. It's been too long, but I think it's going to be a gold mine.
All right, let's talk Minnesota Wild. They played one preseason game. We are taping this on Thursday morning, so it's
Yep.
possible if you are listening to this or watching this on Friday or Saturday that they played a second preseason game that we are not talking about. We're just talking about their first preseason loss 6-2 at St. Louis. They played a lot of their their Iowa Wild guys in that game, Pat. I guess the biggest news, the two biggest news, we'll begin with the first one, which would be Jordan Greenway was on a line with Marco Rossi and Matt Boldy, and this game was not televised, Pat, so I did not see this from my very own eyes. So this is just going off of what you're reading and what you're, what the comments you're seeing from the head coach. But Dean Evison, called out Jordan Greenway a little bit, and some of his veterans in that game.
Well, they expected the veteran guys to lead the younger guys, show them how it's done. Excuse me, and he wasn't happy with that. But I think coaches, they try to play these psychological games, and I think it's important that they let Greenway know early whether he was the cause of not being that leader or whatever the case may be. It was, we got to keep him focused every day, and he's maybe singled him out just for that. And some guys need that, Brandon. And I think we've learned that Jordan Greenway needs to be motivated. And you hope it gets to a point where he comes to the rink every day knowing that he's got to bring it. And, that's been what you and I have talked about for years.
The same time last year, Pat, we were talking about Bill Guerin had to have a sit down with him and talk to him about,
Right.
hey, this is a big year for you. You need to change the way you train. You need to change the way you eat. Your diet, all that kind of stuff. And at least the first half of last year, he had a pretty good season. He seemed to trail off a little bit, but he's the guy, Pat, that's always been inconsistent. And even after a good year, you don't know if you're going to get a good year for him the next year, or you might have a good game and then a bad game, or a stretch where he's just not as into it. I'm guessing that's probably the fear with Bill Guerin and Dean Evison is, he's elevated his game a little bit last year, but that's not a guarantee he's going to continue to do that.
Brandon, let's face it. You look at him and you look at all of his attributes. He's big. He's strong. He can skate. He can handle the puck. He can shoot the puck.
Yep.
One thing that we don't know is the mental part of it. And how many guys have we seen that have everything and you wonder why he's not great, and it's upstairs? Whether it's motivation, whether it's the want and the will, and then we see, well, man, we just can't trade him. We can't move him because of what we see, physically. But there's going to be a point in time where this team is going to get to a level where they need everybody every night, and that they can trust everybody. And it might be getting to that point in time where, how much more do we need to see before we do something? And that it's listen, it's every year's a big year, but this year's a really big year for Jordan Greenway.
The other notable thing out of that game, Pat, or a newsworthy nugget would be Adam Beckman scored 2 goals in that game against St. Louis. And, we focused a lot based off of where they're drafted on Marco Rossi and Matt Boldy, and those are your 2 big prospects. And let's face it, maybe Adam Beckman doesn't have the highest ceiling compared to the other 2, but he led the WHL in scoring a couple of years ago. He scored everywhere he's been.
Yeah.
And he's been projected to be an NHL contributor. So maybe we should be keeping our eyes open a little bit more as to this guy, not only making the roster out of right out of the gate, but even if he doesn't, of contributing at some point this season for this team.
How many times have we talked about, Brandon, the team that's on the ice on the first day may not be your best team? And I say that because you got a guy like Beckman, you got a guy like Duhaime, you got a guy like Boldy, you got a guy like Rossi, you got a guy like Addison, who may not be able to make the team based on contracts. It's pretty tough for a organization to send down a guy that's making $2 million, $3 million, $4 million on a one-way deal. You just don't do it, or you don't see it. So, Beckman has shown, at least early, that he can score at any level. And when you are able to move up a level and score and contribute, you found yourself a player.
His challenge is going to be, we've seen these kind of players before, Pat, where they're scorers, but he needs to be a power play guy. He needs to be a guy that's, is he good enough to be in your top six? Because he might not necessarily be a grinder, third line, fourth line type player. And we've seen lots of the, I go back to like Jordan Schrader, like that kind of player who was really good at the minor league level, but is not going to play a whole lot of fourth line for you. Right. That's going to be the challenge for Beckman, I think.
Yeah, very well could be, because people are going to say, well, boy, he led the league and now he's only got, in the WHL and he scored and he might be playing on the fourth line here, and you don't get the minutes, you don't get the power play. But yeah, it's where you're slotted, and is there room there, or does he earn it? We're gonna have to see what quite frankly, Brandon. We had talked before we started this. I really don't know which direction they're going to go. Is Marco Rossi really going to be one of the guys that has a chance to make it, or do they already in their mind have him going down for a while? Same with Matt Boldy, same with Duhaime. So we really don't know. I guess these next exhibition games will get a better handle on what's going to happen.
Finally, before we go, Pat, the NHL has finally listened to you and me.
Yes.
We've been beating this drum for about the last 8 to 9, 10 years of why do they allow cross checks in the National Hockey League? I've never understood it. One, you're going to have star players that are getting hurt, they're getting injured. It takes away scoring chances not only on the ice, but then your best players
get hurt.
Are hurt, aren't playing. It'll increase the amount of power plays. It'll loosen things up and give a little more space out there and create more offense, which the league is looking for. I don't know what took so long, but it sounds like they're finally going to enforce cross-checking. Now, I've heard this before where they're going to act like they're going to enforce stuff, and then by the time they get to the playoffs, they don't enforce it. But it makes no sense that they haven't done this until now, and I hope they follow through with actually enforcing cross-checking.
Well, yeah, my fingers are crossed. This is supposed to be an entertaining game, entertaining the fans. And yes, it's go. If they do hold true to what they say, it's going to be so much better for the game, and we'll see a little bit more scoring. And again, we'll see if it happens.
Pat, we only have like a week or two left of Beyond the Pod, but at least we'll have some actual results from college hockey games to chat about next week.
Yeah, and we've got Fan Line coming up, and so we'll see a lot of each other, Brandon.
Oh boy!
One little plug: St. Thomas fans, if you want to watch St. Thomas in their first Division I game, tune in to Fox 9 Plus, 6:00 Saturday night. Jim Rich and myself on the call.
I can't wait to see it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have
Pat.
a great week. Thank you.
He's Pat Micheletti. I'm Brandon Mileski. This has been another episode of Beyond the Pod, as always, brought to you by SodaStick.com. Use the code KFAN for 15% off your next order. We'll talk to you next week on Beyond the Pod. Thanks for joining. Bye.